Bruno, thanks for joining, and good afternoon.
Hey, thanks, Steve. It was actually our second virtual grand opening, so I think we're getting good at this, but I'm anxious to start doing these things live pretty soon again.
Yeah, we are. For those of you that have been at the historical data center openings, much more fun when we can be together and take a walk and see the data center in person and ultimately end usually with a cocktail. Makes it a little more fun. I will say as one small thing, we couldn't we couldn't be in the data center, and so we wanted to bring the data center to you. For those of you that are following our social campaign, we've got some cool stuff going. We have some amazing little models of the building. I know the team is very proud of the design and the beauty of the building itself, and so we've been having some real fun there. I encourage you guys to go take a look at some of the stuff that's being done on social right now. So let's dive in. I see a few questions coming in. One of the areas I think we should start in is the base isolation. I think everyone talks about the safety of buildings in Santa Clara, in Silicon Valley overall. We're all very well aware of the earthquake risk and how do we protect the building. And most buildings are built to withstand pretty significant earthquakes. So talk to us a little bit, Bruno, about how this is different and why this is so interesting and so unique in this market.
Yeah, I don't think we can talk enough about the base isolation system because it was a pretty big decision for us when we made the decision to enter the Santa Clara market or the Silicon Valley market in terms of what we were going to do to make sure that we had, a different data center or a better data center than everyone else. And fortunately, we had NTT behind us at the time that had deployed these base isolation systems in their Japanese data centers. And it actually survived quite a few earthquakes that had happened there. So we looked very seriously at this base isolation system before we even had land in Santa Clara and really decided early on that this was going to be a key thing for us and a key technology that we wanted to deploy. We were talking about this years before we even had a design of the data center. And I think if you look at a traditional building in Santa Clara, because Santa Clara has code and jurisdictional dependencies on how buildings get built, they have to withstand an earthquake. I think you mentioned on the video seismic importance factors and different ways that buildings have to be built, but they have to meet code, which means they have to be seismically braced. So if you saw the video, you saw some of the bracing that is in the building because the building can't collapse, right? That's really what the design is. So there's the seismic bracing, and then there's the deep pilings that the building has to be stabilized on to make sure that the building doesn't fall. And it's really intended to make sure that nobody dies or nothing happens inside of one of those seismic events. The building can't collapse. So that's typically what most buildings are designed to. So you'll see that seismic bracing and the deep pilings. What we did is we took that a step further and added 2 additional safety measures. The video talks about those pendulums or the base isolation systems. So all of our columns are mounted on one of those base isolation. I think I mentioned in the video there's 54 of those that the building is actually sitting on top of. And what that does is that separates the building itself from the ground. And then we've got dampeners that connect those 2 isolators together to kind of slow the building movement from happening. So what happens, instead of the building being able to move and not collapse during an earthquake, our building actually is floating and allows the ground and building to kind of move independently. So for us, it's not about damaging the building. We need to protect that building because in a traditional building, if the people survive, they can leave the building and go somewhere else after. With our equipment that's in the data center, we don't want to have to relocate any of that equipment. We want that building to stay intact in any seismic event that happens. And luckily, this technology has been tested in some of the earthquakes that have happened in Japan and otherwise. So we're very excited to have this as one of the main features of this facility for us and excited about that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and I encourage those that we were able to get under that building and to see the size and scale of the dampeners and the way it works is truly amazing. So one of the questions that we're always getting is how far does the building move? And I'll amend that because it's really how far does the ground move under the building? But this has all been ingrained in us. But talk a little bit about that amount of movement because it's pretty significant.
So it's currently designed to be able to move about, let me make sure you guys see my hands. I need to talk with my hands, it works better. But it's designed to move about 32 inches. That's kind of the leeway that that building has from the ground. And the interesting, you think it's just building it on a pendulum, but you kind of don't realize the additional complexity that's required in constructing that, because now we have to separate the building from the ground. So whenever I urge everybody, when they go to Santa Clara or Silicon Valley 1, take a walk around the building, because you'll see what we call the moat, because we have to have 32 inches of space that that building can move and not run into anything. So if you walk around the building carefully, you'll see that there's a moat or 32 inches where the building can actually move. So it's an interesting kind of tour feature. When you walk around the building, you kind of see that gap. And we've got all of our generators. We had to build our mechanical yard and everything on top of this moat, as we call it, so that all of that components can actually move separately from the ground. And it was an interesting design, but it does make for a great visible tour and something to kind of look at when you go to the site.
Yeah, yeah, it is not easy to spot, I will say. Bruno and I played that game a little bit, but it is a bit of a challenge to see that moat. So awesome. All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit. When we talk about the products and the customers that we're serving in this data center and really in all of our data centers, there's a question here about, I guess, who our primary targets are and how do we serve customers of different size and scale, and how does that apply in SV1?
I like that question, because that kind of really plays into our product set, which obviously I'm in charge of. But the one thing that we kind of, I think, differentiate ourselves beyond some of the other players in this market and even kind of beyond, is that we really have a solution for all types of clients. I'm going to use my terms here, but I'll try to explain what they mean. So we've got retail solutions. And when I say retail, I just mean we will sell solutions, co-location solutions for customers that are looking for a single rack, 5 to 10 kW in a single rack. And we've actually got current customers in Santa Clara that are deployed with that type of solution. So that's our cabinet retail. But we also have retail solutions for customers that need multiple racks in a secured, caged environment as well. So that's kind of one of the key products that we provide and have in this market. So that's kind of our retail solution: single cabinets, multiple cabinets sold in obviously kW and secured. We also have our wholesale product, Steve, in this market. So the wholesale is a little different in that we kind of provide space, and we do sell it in terms of kilowatts, but we'll sell it to clients that are looking for kind of megawatt type solutions, right? So our wholesale product starts at about 250 kilowatts, but goes up to the multi-megawatts, and we kind of work with clients to provide that flexibility. So we can divvy up one of those vaults for either retail clients or wholesale. And then also, we've got some clients that are interested in taking up one of those whole floors. We call that kind of our scale solution, and we do have that ability. And the benefit of that is they get total control over security, they get total control over the complete electrical system, they get control over the cooling system if they take the entire data hall. And we do have customers that are basically looking at taking one of those whole floors in that data center. So the unique thing for us, at least in Santa Clara, is that we've got 3 floors of data center capacity and data center white space, and we can kind of break up the solutions based on what the customers need. So we're not focused on any one type of client. We really, I think, pride ourselves in the fact that we've got a flexible solution and really work with the clients based on their needs to ensure that they can fit within our solution. We try not to push our solutions to our clients. We try to really work with them and make sure that we have something that meets their needs and can deliver that accordingly.
Yep, no, that's great. And there's actually a related question there that has come in. When will SV1 start to carry live customer traffic? When do we anticipate full capacity? I think we both know the answer to this one, but do you want to speak about kind of where we're at with some of our customers moving in today?
We are, yeah. So the building officially opened. I know we're doing our grand opening today, our building officially opened in April, and we've got customers already deployed. We were there, a week or two ago, Steve, and we have another customer that's basically deploying a larger footprint in there already. So we've got retail solutions live. We're already carrying live load in that facility, actually on the 2nd floor, and we've got another couple large clients moving in into that floor. So we're expecting full load very soon, actually. So
Yeah,
we're pretty
yeah,
excited about the data center. It was
yeah.
probably one
It
of our
has
most
been.
successful launches, actually.
Absolutely, it's been very successful and very quick. I think we've all been very pleasantly surprised with that. So
Yeah.
let's come back to the product discussion a little bit. You talked about the vaults. We have 3 different vaults, one on each floor. Is there any difference between those vaults? And talk about size and density and some of the different the nuts and bolts, so to speak, of what's sitting
The
behind there.
speeds and feeds. This is my
Exactly.
favorite part, right? The geeky stuff. So each floor around this, it's about the same square footage, and you see kind of the layout within the floors, and we've given a lot of flexibility. So about 21,000 square feet of space. They're all cooled with the fan walls that line both sides of the wall. We've got the mechanical and electrical galleries that are outside the vault. So inside of those vaults, at 21,000 square feet of space is totally available for our clients. We don't put any of our equipment inside of those vaults. So the second floor, which is the first floor that we've basically have clients moving into, we've got some retail capacity in there, but that floor total is capable of supporting 5 megawatts of critical load. So that's load delivered to the floor. That doesn't include the extra load required to cool it and light it, et cetera. That's pure critical IT load that's available for our customers to use. So 5 megawatts on the second floor. The third floor is a mirror image of that. So that's an additional 5 megawatts as well. And then the fourth floor has, we've made that a higher density floor. So that's actually a dedicated system, electrical system, and it's capable of providing 6 megawatts. So a little bit higher density for those customers that actually are looking for a little bit of a higher density solution, and we can deliver 6 megawatts on that fourth floor.
Yeah, and I think that the message that's underlying there is that we've designed some flexibility into the building to support all different types of requirements, not just, as you said, size and scale, but varied densities. And so it's kind of exciting, particularly in Silicon Valley. We are seeing more and more customers who are looking for unique solutions, and this building is really ready to support a lot of those requirements that we're seeing come in from new clients.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
that's a
So
good
go
point.
ahead,
And
sorry, Bruno.
just to add to that too, in terms of we've built our basic product and obviously are delivering that, but there is room inside of our mechanical galleries that we've added room for additional PDUs or additional fan walls, like you said, to really adapt with some of the changing needs, because we knew this building was going to be around for a while and wanted to make sure that we took advantage of some of the technologies that are actually being driven out of Santa Clara. So there's room to add equipment, there's room to modify designs, and like you said, we're ready and excited to start delivering water right to the floor, right to the racks, right to the chips that some of our clients are looking for. So we're ready for those challenges and those opportunities.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we'll jump here to a couple other topics, but there are a couple questions coming in, and obviously a major concern and a major discussion in data centers, not just in California and Silicon Valley, but around the country and around the globe, and that's the topic of sustainability. Data centers oftentimes get a bad rap. You and I, Bruno, have talked many times about just the use of diesel gens, the extremely limited use of diesel gens as a backup. But the concern continues to grow. And I guess the question here, or maybe, Bruno, take a couple of minutes and talk about our overall sustainability strategy. What are the things that we're doing broadly? How are we working with our power providers, with SVP in this case? And what are we doing today and kind of planned for the future?
Yeah, and that's an important topic for us at NTT. We're doing everything with sustainability in mind. And I'll start with just kind of making the general statement, Steve, that a lot of our customers say to us, and that sustainability isn't just about the green power that's available into the data center. But I'll start with that because we've partnered with Silicon Valley Power. They do have 100% green, 100% sustainable, 100% carbon-free solutions that we can take advantage of to deliver our clients. So power, actually, there's a few options there. And we actually have our own in-house team within the GDC environment now that is looking at buying, different RECs and having different options available for customers beyond just what the utility provider can provide. But every single one of our utility providers have options with us through a partnership to deliver 100% carbon-free or green sustainable power to the data center. So that's the first piece, but that's not the only piece that matters, especially in California. I think I see some of the questions asking about emissions and the effect of the generators, and obviously we are passing within California. California's got probably one of the strictest emissions control standards in Title 24, which is mandating energy efficiency within the facility. So the hot aisle containment that we're deploying and mandating within the data center, the carbon emission scrubbers and things that are installed on top of those generators to ensure the emissions are as clean and green as possible. We've got probably one of the most important features with regards to what we're doing within our data center from a cooling perspective is the water loop. We are using a closed chilled water system, so we're not adding or using any water beyond what's in the initial charge of the loop, which is pretty important for us. We're not wasting any water at all within that environment. And those are just a couple of the things we're doing. There's a lot of economization that's built in, as we mentioned in the video, into our air-cooled chillers. So when we don't need to, augment or cool the water further, we can leverage the free air or the free cooling capabilities that exist there. And for us, it's really the main goal of being sustainable, being environmentally conscious, but as well as being efficient in our data center design to make sure that, the only electricity or the only power that's used is really to drive the usage of those servers and minimize the extraneous power as much as possible. And there's a lot more things that we're doing from sustainability perspective. There's some of the information on our website, but that's a key focus of us as a data center provider moving forward to make sure that we're always innovating in that area.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I would say it's not even just a data center piece, right? This is one of the big initiatives for NTT overall and across all of our business lines. It's something that we are spending a lot of time on. We could probably spend the next hour just focus on sustainability. So in the interest of time, we'll keep moving on that, but certainly something that is an important topic and one that we're focused on and will continue to innovate around when it comes to the data center. So we talked about the products. There's some questions here, and I wanted to give you a minute to talk specifically about connectivity. Obviously, the history of NTT as a networking company, and as we continue to come together and bring more services together, talk about the connectivity within SV1 a little bit, and some of our networking solutions and products that we're offering through our site and really through our overall platform in the data center space.
Yeah, no, good question. So the connectivity piece is always part of our design. So, I think we talked about some of the basic concepts, right? We've got 3 entrance facilities into the building, kind of allowing multiple carriers and, to have carriers come into multiple entrances and providing diversity from that perspective. So there's 3 entrance facilities, which means the fiber comes into the building at those locations. We've got 2 Meet Me rooms, and those Meet Me rooms are dedicated for and they're separate rooms. They're not on the data center floor. They're separate rooms that are dedicated for our service providers as well as our telecommunications providers. We've got 5 telecommunications providers currently already popped within the data center. It's Bandwidth IG, Cogent, Comcast, Lumen, Silicon Valley Power, Zayo. We're currently working with Megaport, which is our cloud connectivity partner that we have a great relationship with to have a presence there. Actually, they're building in currently, as well as NTT. As you mentioned, NTT has a breadth of networking services to bring them in to offer all of their services within our portfolio. So that being said, I want to stress the fact that we're carrier neutral and make it easy for any of the carriers in the area, and we have a whole team on my team that's working with those carriers to make sure that we make it as easy as possible for them to come into the data center, and we're carrier neutral from that perspective. But we understand, Steve, that our clients need connectivity services. A data center without the ability to connect is I've heard the term, it's nothing more than just a big refrigerator. But we do have some services that we offer kind of under our umbrella. So we have a blended internet product that we offer in all of our data centers, and we love our customers to take advantage of that blended internet. We make it easy, make it part of the co-location bill. And then we also have a Campus Connect product for us, which is really interconnecting all of our data centers that we're evolving onto an SD-WAN platform. So it's really exciting, some of the evolution and changes we're making with our Campus Connect product, which is our campus-to-campus interconnection solution. But then I think some of you have probably seen a press release that we sent out a week or two ago, that as GDC, the Global Data Centers Division, is launching a Global Data Centers Division Interconnect product, or GDCI. So that's going to be available in Santa Clara as well, which is going to interconnect the whole GDC platform together and actually provide a breadth of solutions on top of that. So we've got a pretty good set of connectivity solutions in Santa Clara that we're excited about.
Yep, no, that's great. That's exciting stuff. So we've got a couple of quick minutes. I've got one more question for you. One of the things that I think we've all obviously been living through this for over a year now, but we love getting people into the data center. Obviously, one of the biggest things you want to do is be able to see the data center. Where are we at, and what is our COVID protocols? Are we able to do those tours, and kind of share with our audience today kind of where we're at in terms of seeing the data center in person?
Yeah, and so I'll start with, we're still under COVID protocols, but we are open for business and actually love taking clients through our data centers. There's just a few extra precautions and steps required before we take customers, clients, prospects through the data center, but we've already been giving tours of Santa Clara. We're ready and excited to do that. Just keep in mind, we have a few extra steps with some of the COVID protocols that we still have in place and really stand behind, because it's an important topic for us to really keep our data center employees and customers safe in the data center. So that's first and foremost. But yes, we're ready to do tours, and we've been doing them. In fact, I've been known to take a drive down and do some of those tours myself. I don't think we can get underground like we did last time, but it's exciting. But the other piece is we do have, some of the things that COVID has really brought to us is we've got a whole suite of tools now with the video tours that we have available, the kind of guided 3D kind of walkthrough tours, and have been using all of those tools. But yeah, we're excited and ready to do some of these tours, Steve. And I can urge anyone on this call that hasn't been to Santa Clara to take a look. It's probably one of the most exciting data centers I've been at.
Yep. No,
if you don't mind, Steve, I kind of see a couple of questions with regards to the market in here, and I know that this is something that's kind of near and dear to your heart, and obviously some of the help and value that you've brought to the organization with even selecting sort of where we're going in Santa Clara. So, I guess the first question that I'm seeing on here, because as Raging Wire before NTT was kind of really found in Santa Clara and founded in Sacramento and tried to stay away from the Bay Area to some degree. One of the questions I'm seeing is, why did you go into Santa Clara given some of the challenges with emissions and building and all that? Why Santa Clara?
Yeah, that's a question we've asked and answered a lot, and as you know, Bruno, near and dear to my heart. I've probably looked at almost every building in all of Santa Clara. I guess a couple of things that I'll just share with this audience, and some may already know this already, but. One is that everything is primarily in Santa Clara proper, and the reason for that is SVP power. Most of California, as everyone knows, is served by PG&E. Silicon Valley Power is its own power generating and authority in that region specifically. Their power costs tend to be at a minimum about 30% less than PG&E. So if you cross into Sunnyvale or into San Jose directly, your price is going to go up significantly, and so everyone is really concentrated in being in Santa Clara. The reason why people want to be in Silicon Valley is fairly simple, and it's all about proximity. As we talked about in the earlier video, it's one of the densest interconnection points. Those of you that know the area specifically down at Great Oaks is actually the densest interconnection point on the West Coast, and so there is a proximity play where people want to be close to that interconnection point. The other piece that's super important is just having access to the data center itself. There are many low-cost alternatives in all parts of the country, but they're not always easy to access. And we have so many customers and clients whose headquarters are right there, and they want to have access to the data center. And so strategically, it's a great place to be. I think as the question's coming in, it's a difficult place to build. It's a difficult place to find land. There isn't literal greenfield like there are in other markets where you can find farmland and light industrial that can be easily converted. It's very very difficult. And so it's something that we feel is important and worth the work to go from there. So as I said, we're excited. We hope that this is just the beginning for us. In terms of this first building. As many know, we're always looking at what that next piece is and trying to make sure that we have runway for growth for our clients. So I think we are just about out of time. I'm just looking through the questions here. We will try and follow up if there are other questions. We are more than happy, Bruno and I, as probably both of our teams, always lament the fact that we're too willing to talk and share these stories. But I really wanted to take just a minute as we close out here to thank everyone for joining us today. As we said, we're very, very excited about this building. We're very excited about the growth and expansion of NTT in the Americas region. It's been a great adventure, and we really are excited to continue to bring you, continued capacity, new locations, and new data centers. Bruno and I both hope that the next time we're doing this, it's live and in person. But appreciate everyone jumping on here, and look forward to continued growth and success with the team. So thank you very much, and certainly thank you to Bruno and his expertise as well.
Thanks, Steve. Looking forward to seeing everyone at SV1.
Yeah, great. Thank you guys, and have a good afternoon.